Hey everyone, Connor Baldacci here with Baldacci Guitars, and today we have another stain video we're putting together for you. This one is actually one of my favorite finishes. We call it Sedona Fire. Now, Sedona Fire is a double stain. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stain this whole guitar one color, sand it back, and then stain a second color. And that layering effect of the two stains will actually give us a really neat effect within the grain of this wood. Requirements for this stain are you need a really nice figured top. You need something that the stain is really going to penetrate down into, and as you can see, that's what we have here. So anyway, let's stop talking and let's get right to it. So as always, the first thing we have to do is wet this whole top down, and if you're new here, what that does is it's going to open up the grain and let the wood actually receive the stain a bit better. This whole top has been sanded down to 220 grit. All of the router marks have been sanded out. So yeah, we're just going to take some water here, a rag, and wipe this whole thing down. So our piece is almost done drying here. Now, what I want to get into before we get started is what we call the double stain process. And I touched on it a little bit earlier. We're gonna stain this whole thing orange and then sand it back and stain the rest of it amber. Now, what the double stain actually accomplishes is on a highly figured top, you have interlocking hard and soft grain. So you can see the hard areas are these light ones where the water's already evaporated off, and the soft grain areas are these darker lines where the water penetrated deeper and hasn't quite evaporated yet. So when we do our first run of stain, which in this case is orange, usually you stain your darker color first, that darker color is going to go down deeper into the soft grain. We're going to stain kind of the surface level of the harder areas and actually down pretty deep into these hard grain area, or these soft grain areas, excuse me. And that's why we need a really nice top for this Sedona Fire finish, because you need that first stain to go down pretty deep into the wood. Then we're going to take off the whole top layer just by sanding with 220 or 320, we'll see when that time comes. Then our next step is to stain amber over the top of this whole piece. Now that amber is going to sit on top of the hard grain where we just sanded our orange color off. But the cool thing is as you move this piece, you see how the figure in the piece of wood kind of moves with the light? The stain is going to do that too. So once this guitar is stained and finished and buffed out, as it moves in the light, you'll almost have like a dancing flame effect within the flame of the wood. So we've mixed up our colors here, and the first color we're doing is a trans-tint orange, and we've reduced it with water in this case. Mixed it up, it looks pretty good on our stir stick here. The amber was already mixed because this is the 5th guitar we've stained today, and we needed amber for a couple of the others. But one of the things we really like about these trans-tint toners is it gives you more control over the saturation of your stain colors. It is a little bit harder to reproduce each color every time, but if you know what colors you're shooting for, it's easy to darken, or you can reduce it too if you end up with a color that's too saturated. So that's why we like to use these. Occasionally we'll use these, I mean, you can't really see it because we've spilled it, but the Mohawk, shoot, I can't even read that, but the pre-mixed Mohawk Balins stains. So our first color that's going on is gonna be orange, and then we'll sand everything back, stain it all amber, and by the end, we'll have a sweet looking guitar. So apologies for the AC running in the background, but we are in Arizona and it is 100 degrees outside. But we have our first coat of stain down, and we're gonna let this dry naturally. We're not gonna force any air on it because we want this orange stain to actually seep down as far as possible into our softer grains. So we're all dried here and we are looking like a blood orange at this point. If you know me at all, you know how boring I think sanding is, so we're gonna speed this part up for you. We're using 240 grit. We're gonna try and sand in straight lines so we don't give any sanding swirls anywhere. And we'll just show it to you when it's done. Okay, so there it is, all sanded and dried. You can see we kind of have this like peach color going. In real life, it's a little bit more salmon too, but once we get our amber stain on there, you can see the orange is gonna get a little bit more brown, and we're gonna get a nice amber color all the way through here. It's hard to explain, so we're just gonna jump right in. So this is just drying now, but I mean, as you can see, it is a pretty sweet color. It changes as you move it around. Typically, we recommend nickel hardware, a nickel trim. We're waiting on an order of trim, so I just put this in here for fun. Yeah, nickel pickups usually look really good in this with cream rings, black knobs, but it's a really good base. You can make it whatever you want, like zebra pickups look really good in there, uncovered pickups would look great, even black nickel finish I think would look pretty sweet on this color. The only thing left to do is sand our binding line into here, and then it'll go to base coat, where after all of the lacquer's done, we'll buff it out and you'll have that nice dipped in glass, super glossy finish. So yeah, this, like I said, is my favorite, or one of my favorite colors that we do. And hopefully, even if you don't like this color, you may learn something from this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if not, you should probably just go to another video. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and check out our channel for more guitar related content.